Hello and welcome, wonderful people. I'm Sam, and I'm here today in my Ancient Andalucía park in Prehistoric Kingdom. Um, should you have tuned into this video and not know about this game, Prehistoric Kingdom is like a zoo or park builder and manager, um, with the big focus being that it's about prehistoric animals, dinosaurs, and other creatures from the deep past. It's super fun. Gives you so much creative control. It's made by a small indie dev team, and it's still in early access, but they're making new things all the time. There's already so many features in the game. Excuse me. Now, last time, in my very first video here on YouTube, I sort of gave a tour of this park that I've been making. Um, Now I'm building something new, and I'm showing you in this speed build that you see before you. Which is new for me. Took a lot of time. I'm a uh, I'm a slow builder, and I'm a disorganized builder. I blame the ADHD. So uh, so like I don't really log in that well. Um, so this is spliced together from me playing an hour here, an hour there, and so on and so forth for a long while, which also means it's very sped up. Honestly, I wish I could have uh, put it at a bit of a slower speed, probably, because like looking at this footage myself kind of hurts my eyes, but um, I couldn't really make that work unless I wanted the video to be even longer than it already is. I honestly would have wanted it to maybe get below like 15 minutes, nice and bite sized, but then I would have to cut out too much. I already cut out a lot, as you could probably see as you're watching along with me. Right, I should talk about the build. Uh, I'm making a big sort of mammoth step uh, sort of enclosure with all the Ice Age herbivores that are currently in the game. So the mammoth and the giant elk or megalosaurus and the woolly rhino or Quelodonta. Um, right here, you see me building a stable for them. It's gonna change a little bit design-wise throughout. You've already seen me change it a little bit design-wise from the beginning and to now. Um, it's sort of vaguely inspired by some Pinterest pictures I found of old stables and barns in Spain. It's actually, especially the front facade is heavily inspired by a specific picture I found, but the rest is sort of me extrapolating from uh, those pictures of the general aesthetic that are typical in that area of the world. Um, I'll talk a little bit more about sort of the park, um, like I did in my first video, what it's about. In the end, where I'll go to sort of a live play a little bit once I'm done building. For now, you see, like I wanted the barn to be pretty big, pretty tall, because obviously it's gonna hold elephants or mammoth, but they are a type of elephants. They're large. It's also why I have this nice, true to scale, sort of little mammoth sign here in the doorway, so I can make sure they can go in. And I know, seeing the mammoth, I could have made the building lower, sure, but I wanted it to feel spacious as well, and also it helps to give it that style I was talking about. Right. So back to adding a little bit of foliage. I'm gonna remove a few of those trees in a moment again, because apparently that was a bit too much foliage for the animals. Right. So you can see the stable or barn building is coming along nicely. Here I'm adding in some doorways. They are gonna be sort of a bit more detailed later, but for now I'm just sort of making the basic shape of it. I like to have sort of a degree of realism in my builds. Not, I know some YouTubers or some creators goes into insane detail with sort of the realism of their builds, their parks, backstage areas, and not just sort of like I'm doing here, making doorways with gates, but making all the things that would make the gate look functional in real life, like sort of wires and uh, whatever mechanism is used to open it. I want to agree of it, but I don't want to spend even longer than I'm already doing, sort of finicking with tiny details, especially because one of the few unfortunate things about this game is that the render distance is on the small sort of items in the game is quite low. So once you zoom out a little bit, you wouldn't be able to see like a door handle anyway. Um, yeah, I'm adding all the animals in as babies with realistic growth speed. That's sort of you can sort of edit that in the game, but I wanted them to start out as babies and grow up slow. That'll give them the best rating once they grow up, and the best chance of mating once they grow up. But I'm already, as you could see there, putting in the sort of birthing beds, which is the thing they require if they want to mate with each other in the game. That's one of the newest updates to the game, actually. But it's gonna be a while before they get there because they grow up slowly. Right. Yes, a few more details to the barn. I'm gonna change the front of it here in a little bit. Now I think, yeah. Um, I felt like it needed a little more of a sort of a feature on top, a weedy, if you will, a term from some other YouTube creators. So I'm adding this little sort of tower thing in the front. Um, it's amazing what you can do in this game. You see me do it here a little bit. Just sort of, I could have added trims to give the same effect to the roof, but it's easier to just stretch the roof a little bit because every single building piece in the game, more or less, you can sort of stretch and resize as you see fit, which makes it a lot easier to build something exactly the way you want it to look. Compare this with like Planet Zoo, for example. In Planet Zoo, which is a very similar sort of style of building games, but for regular animals, you have like a billion different pieces. So many, from tiny to large, but you can't resize any of them. So the challenge into making something really good there is sort of uh, figuring out the smartest way to get what you want with a combination of all those many pieces. Whereas here you have fewer pieces, but since they're scalable and resizable and stretchable, you can just sort of reshape them to exactly the thing you want. Which, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to make this barn like it is without that feature. I think that's wonderful. Um, yeah, it's still a little bit bare bones. I feel like I could add more detail to it. Maybe I will in the future. Maybe I'll change sort of the color of the walls to something with a little bit more texture. Honestly, the reference pictures I found, typically it is like a white or sort of a pale yellow plaster sort of or clay sort of for most of the walls in that area of the world. So I don't know. It wouldn't really fit changing it into say bricks or something. I think, but it does look a little bit bare at the moment. I might spruce that up later. Maybe just give the walls some cracks, some vines growing from them, something like that. Anyway, I'm continuing here with this sort of a gangway, which is going to lead to a nice viewing platform, which is sort of the main way the guests are going to view the enclosure. Since the habitat is so large, I wanted a really big space because there's a lot of animals in here and some of them are quite large. Um, so I figured the best way for the guests to view this enclosure would be to have them actually be able to walk into it and sort of look out over it from inside. And I wanted that to look pretty, so I'm adding this big tree here, which is going to change later. But uh, it's still going to be a tree. It's just going to look a little different. This part gave me a terrible headache. I wanted to make structural supports for the platform, As you can see in the beginning here, that's going pretty well. I think it's a fairly nice design. Uh, just simple but effective, and it looks solid, which is exactly what I wanted it to look like. And then as I start copying this around, um, especially once I get to the parts that aren't sort of square and on the grid, this becomes a lot more difficult. And I have cut out a lot of me sort of finagling around to try and get all this to look nice. You see some of it just so you have an idea of the struggle that I had, but yeah, it took me a while to make this whole sort of fence situation look nice, fence and support situation. Which, as you can see here, I'm cutting to a part where I've added a lot more, and I'm gonna do that again in a little bit. Uh, yeah, there you can see I've almost added all of them. Now I'm going back and adding a little more detail to the habitat. In the beginning of the episode, you saw me adding some foliage, and then you can see that I removed all of it again because I realized the habitat was missing something, namely sort of rock work. Um, so I changed I removed all the foliage, began adding rocks and also the viewing platforms. And once I'd done that, I re-added the foliage to sort of fit in with the rocks. Yeah, I wanted a nice place you could sort of go up on the cliff and overlook everything. Um, More rocks. Here you can see me doing sort of a trick from Planet 2. There are these very nice piles of small rocks, and if you switch it up in the menu, you can get them to random scale and rotate, so you get them all different sort of sizes. Then what you do is you turn on stack objects and lines of surface, and then all in one group, place them all around the habitat. And once you're done, select the whole group and sort of pull it ever so slightly into the ground to get the effect of like pebbles sticking out of the ground. I had to, because different parts of pebbles were different sizes. I had to redo that a little bit, but more or less it still works. It's a pretty neat technique. Here I'm adding plants again. Then suddenly realizing I had a little too many trees, so I'm removing some of them, and then onto the finishing touches of the build. So yeah, I wanted a nice view from the viewing platform. We're gonna take a look through these binoculars in the live play. And then here in the center, this is where I realized I had to change the tree because I wanted sort of a feature to hang sort of the information signs and stuff on, and I realized that the branches of the tree were sticking through. That didn't look very nice with the animal signs. So I'm cheating a little bit. I'm making like a fake tree trunk out of this sort of log building piece, and then putting a bigger tree on top, which is sticking out over the wall feature. Looks much better, honestly, in my opinion. I'm glad I figured out a way to do that. And sunshades. This park is set in Andalucía, as I said, southern Spain, so it's gonna be quite hot. So pretty much everywhere I have like a place for the guests to view or sit, I'm adding sunshades or some other kind of cover, because the burning Mediterranean sun. That's I mean, everyone likes a bit of sunshine, but it's gonna be a little too much pretty quickly, I imagine, walking around the park like this. So yeah, and I like the sunshades. They're easy to work with, and they feel right for this sort of environment. I could put in a lot of sort of hard roofs everywhere, but it just feels more sort of open and airy to have all these big sort of sunshades all over the park, and it feels more realistic that they come in all these wonderful colors, also, which I quite like. Yeah. Again, finishing touches, a few benches for the guests to sit on, and then lights. important to light your park in this sort of mode of the game, challenge mode. Um, there is a day and night cycle. If you can let, I'm pretty much building all of this in pause mode, but if you unpause the game, it will eventually change to night, which will very quickly make you realize the parts of your park that you haven't given lamps or any sort of lighting, because they'll get pretty dark. Of course, we want the guests and the keepers to be able to see things when they're walking around. There's also a sandbox mode where you can sort of change the weather and the time of day to your heart's content, along with pretty much every other feature in the game. I'll talk about that a bit in the live play. Last part here, I realized at the beginning I just put in a staff gate in the wall itself, and then I realized, there should probably be like a staff area connected to the stable building. So I'm making this slightly precarious path along the cliff's edge out here to a stable building for the keepers, and sort of adding the stable barn structure to fit with that, and adding a little bit of sort of a backstage to the whole thing, as you can see, which I think is like a nice finishing touch. Um, I love, again this game is early access, and compared to, like, the easiest point of comparison probably is something like Planet Zoo, which has like a billion trillion different pieces and little tiny props. This game has a very fairly limited selection, but it already has a very nice selection of backstage props, and which I'm using here in this area in a second. And I think that's very nice. It really allows you to get that touch of realism I was talking about. Right, yeah. Coming along nicely, just editing it a little bit. I wanted some big windows in this building, so the keepers got some light in and could appreciate the view over the cliff edge or to the rest of the park, of course. But I also wanted some sort of covered walls, because I'm gonna place things up along those walls in a second. There, you see me here. Of course, big stable with big herbivores, you're gonna need cleaning, so water hose, um, nice bit of tables and a wash, and all these lovely. This is what I'm talking about. Some very lovely backstage prop. All these boxes and buckets and stuff makes it very easy to make a space feel sort of real and lived in. Uh, yeah. Um, a few finishing edits here. I realized I couldn't have the archways up here because, of course, the backstage building here needs a roof as well. So that's what's coming now. Uh, Lovely, simple little construction. Again, cheating a little bit and just stretching the roof to fit. uh, yeah, windows, of course, and that's pretty much it. Hi again, wonderful people. Before I show you the new habitat, I just want to quickly say I got a comment under my last video saying that uh, in Andalusia they would probably be flying the regional Andalusian flag a lot more than the Spanish one. So I changed the opening sign and the general color scheme throughout the park to reflect that. As you can see here, it's sort of white and green. Um, the real flag has a little heraldic sort of symbol with a woman and two lions on it. Mine has two pterosaurs, the only animals, prehistoric animals currently in the game found in Iberia. Um, I hope that's okay. The other comment I got was that there should be more sort of shade throughout the park, um, because it's so warm. And as we quickly fly over here, you can see I've added more sunshades, pretty much everywhere, generally in that sort of white and green color scheme, and even these little flags with smilodons on instead of lions, because that's the graphic we had in the game. Right. So right past the castle of the bear, and now we're getting to the new area. So 1, 2, 3, and first person mode. As you can see, I've made both stairs and a ramp. That's for implied wheelchair access. There are no wheelchair users in the game at the moment, but I feel like that's a nice feature to have. Zoos in real life should have accessibility, and so should my video game Prehistoric Zoo. So going along the ramp, just looking out over the enclosure here, and we get to this nice platform where I realize I forgot to fix the animal signs. But let's look around. In the first person mode of the game, they added this back in April, I think. You can actually use the binoculars. So let's look at some animals. There they are. It's all paused at the moment because my computer isn't that good. If I unpause the game while recording, it typically lags a lot. Which is in fact why I actually recorded this live play section sort of live with my voice, and then realized my voice sounded so terrible I had to edit that out and record a second voiceover talking over this footage as well. Yeah, sorry about that. I should talk a little bit more about what this park is about. As I said, it's called Andalucía Antigua, as you saw at the entrance, or Ancient Andalucía. So it's set in Andalusia, the southernmost region of Spain. That's primarily because I wanted to work with the ancient architecture you have in that area of the world, which I talked a lot more in my first video. Just taking a break, sitting down, enjoying the view. Yeah. Sort of from now on, I think I want to do something a little different. I think I'm going to start a new park from scratch in challenge mode, so you can sort of follow along and learn along with me and see it go from nothing into a finished park over time. And probably also in an area I know a little better. Sort of, the park it's going to be set in sort of a setting that I'm more familiar with. Right, so a little backstage tour here. You can see those nice backstage props I talk about in the speed build. I think they're very lovely, and may put some more sort of into the backstage later to make it feel actually used. But again, I like implied realism. I don't really have the patience or perhaps the skill to go into sort of super detailed realism. Right, these piles of sand here that I sort of edited throughout the video is based on what it looks like in the indoor elephant habitat in my local zoo in real life. Turns out that concrete floors are bad for the elephant's feet, so a lot of modern zoos cover them with these big piles of sand that the elephants can also play around in. So it's like both for the animal's safety and their enrichment. It's a very neat feature. I thought I would replicate that here. Yeah. Right. I think soon, hopefully, I'm gonna start this new series. I'm gonna try to do it so it's like a weekly thing. But again, I'm very new at this, both at filming and recording and editing, and so I won't make any promises. But that's my goal, sort of a weekly series where I build a park from scratch. I'm just gonna quickly, yeah, as you can see here, I try to turn on the actual playing of the game, and it actually works pretty okay. Better than I anticipated. Here we can see the little guys walking around. I love how derpy the little baby mammoths look. Yeah, and the little deers running around. Lovely stuff. Quite adorable, aren't they? This is a little cheat I did. The animals only like specific types of foliage depending on the animal, and none of these animals really like wetland foliage, which is the one that has all the reeds and cattails and stuff. So what I did was I added the elephant grass, which is it's in the gardening tab. It's not in the foliage tab, so it doesn't count as from a specific environment that the animals have an opinion about. But it kind of looks like reeds, so I added those in to give that effect. As you can see, it looks like they're sort of floating a little bit. That's not actually what they're doing, neither the rocks nor the plants. That's because currently there's a little bug in the game where uh, any sort of structure you have to put into the water, it disappears. It becomes invisible below the water surface. The only exception is the animals themselves, and of course the ground textures. Hopefully they'll fix that soon because it'll be very difficult to make like a, especially if you have a habitat with some deeper water, maybe a lake or something. If you want to have like rocks and you know, broken trees and a lot of underwater plants down the bottom, it's a bit annoying that you won't be able to see it at the moment unless you sort of actually dive in. I think that's a shame. So hopefully they'll fix that. Right. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you again soon. If you liked it, please like, comment on the video, subscribe maybe if you want to see more, and take care of yourselves. Have a good one.